Insperity presents the Small Business Advocate Show with Jim Blasingame, brought to you by FedEx, CareerBuilder.com, and Palo Alto Software. This is a copyrighted production of Small Business Network, Inc., all rights reserved.
Talkers Magazine calls Jim Blasingame one of the best talk show hosts in the industry.
Now remember, I do my best work when I'm being worshipped as a god.
He's Jim Blasingame, the small business advocate.
Welcome back. It's 34 after the hour. Thank you very much for hanging around with me. Thanks for being part of my day. My pleasure to continue to be with you as always, and I'm very excited about our show this half hour because, as you know, folks, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and as you know, for the last several years, we've been doing a show, doing an interview with members of my brain trust who have had breast cancer and who are survivors, and I'm very proud to report that all of them are survivors, every one. And we have three of them here right now, three courageous ladies that they all three know how much I love them. The one I'm gonna introduce them by the terms that I've known them, not necessarily about how long they've been a survivor. First is Joan Pryde. Joan and I go back all the way back to 1999. Joan Pryde works for the government now. She used to work for the Kiplinger Letters, and she and I did the show here every week for, golly, about 10 years. Joan Pryde, welcome back.
Hi, Jim. Good to be back. I was a child when I did the show.
You were only 3. No, you were 6, I think. You started in first grade in those days.
That's right.
It's been a long time ago, and so, Joan, it's good to talk to you again, as always. And then next, Paula Lovell has been with us now for a long time. I think Paula's been with us maybe for 10 years as a member of our Brain Trust, and she is a small business owner in Nashville, Tennessee, and she's our good friend, Paula Lovell. Welcome back to the show. Did we have Paula? We're going to get Paula. We had her, but she's. Let me go to Judith Glaser. Judy and I have known each other for probably 8 or 9 years, and Judy is one of the smartest people I know. She's the author of a number of books. She's doing some wonderful work on the brain, the behaviors that we have based on how our brain works, and an international consultant. And she's our good friend, Judy Glaser. Welcome back.
Thrilled to be here today.
It's good to have you back.
Thank you.
Andrew, let me know when we got Paula. Joan, I remember the morning that you were going to be on my show on a Thursday morning. We called you up at about 8:06, about 8:09, I guess it was, Eastern Time that Thursday morning, and I could tell you were upset, and only 3 minutes before, you had gotten a phone call from your doctor that early in the morning telling you that what the test showed.
Yes, that's absolutely true. And unfortunately, there was a little bit of a mix-up, so I had thought I was clear. So they basically called to say oops. And it was kind of a oops.
Yeah.
But the good news is that was over 12 years ago.
Yes.
And that's kind of one of the messages that we like to give here.
We'd only known each other maybe a year or so.
That's true.
And I remember that morning, and you were obviously, understandably upset. And you and I were doing an hour program at that time, covering the Kiplinger Letter. And I said, you go take care of yourself, and I'll take care of the show. And that was 12 years ago. And thank God for medicine and for getting screened, and for the treatments that they can have. Because 12 years later, you're still here, and we're so proud of that.
And if I could tell people one more thing I learned, that morning I remember thinking that my life was ruined.
Yeah.
And it was not.
Yeah. But it's understandable at that time, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
And, Judy, you were sitting in the doctor's office on September, get this, folks, notice the date.
Oh, no.
The morning of September 11th, 2001, the doctor was giving you the news, wasn't he, in his office?
She was giving me the news, actually.
Uh-huh.
And what was happening is that the telephone lines were down, and so my biopsy was coming in one page at a time. And she went from, yes, you have breast cancer, but I don't think you're going to need anything but radiation, to you have it, you need radiation, you need chemo, and you need extreme chemo, as the pathology came through.
Wow.
So I sat there going downhill, listening to
in lower Manhattan as we were being attacked.
Exactly at the same time.
Yeah.
Exactly at the same time.
Yeah. Wow. Talk about drama.
But you know what? But you know what I got out of that is I had to reframe my whole thinking because I realized what was happening to me was nowhere near as bad as what was happening to the world.
But imagine folks having to go through all that at the same time. Paula, welcome back. Thanks again for being here. Paula,
Thank you.
I don't remember all the details of yours, but
sure.
I do remember, what was it, about 8 or 9 years ago?
It was 10 years ago this
10
summer.
10 years ago?
And, so it was discovered in a routine mammogram. And I was, you're so surprised because you do your regular test, which they encourage you to do, and I encourage people to do, but it was just small and it was early, so that, but because of I had such a great chance, and here I am to tell the story. I had surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. And knock on wood, I haven't had any complications. I'm doing great.
Hold that thought, ladies. We've got to take a quick break. Folks, 3 ladies, 10, 12, and 12 years since they were diagnosed. Still alive, still doing great, still beautiful. Stay with us, 22.
Insperity presents the Small Business Advocate Show with Jim Blasingame, brought to you by FedEx, CareerBuilder.com, and Palo Alto Software. This is a copyrighted production of Small Business Network, Inc., intended for the private use of our audience. Except as otherwise provided by copyright law, all other copying, redistribution, or publication without prior written consent is prohibited. All rights reserved.